The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on a break!
with Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, Season 20, Episode number 53. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, and we're presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at lg.com/OLED Evo. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome back, Amber.
Hello.
Good to see you here.
I missed y'all.
Did you?
Kidding. Just kidding.
We got a lot we're going to get into today. We will start our breakdown of Cowboys versus 49ers. Bryan will have his breakdown of the 49ers offense versus the Dallas defense. We'll talk some about the Dallas defense and some of the areas where they're going to have to improve in order to get a win this weekend. Let's start first, though, with this, I guess, the bigger picture look at this matchup between the Cowboys and 49ers. Dallas has now lost the last 3 times they've played them. 2 out of the last 3 that they lost were games that they played in the playoffs. So it stings a little bit more because the 49ers have ended their season in those 2 years. They lost the last 2 times they've played in San Francisco. And the last time they beat the San Francisco 49ers was in 2017. That was a drubbing 40-10, but that was 2017. So that being said, do you guys think that this has become a mental challenge for the Cowboys as much as it is physical?
Yeah, I think that's pretty valid. Like I said yesterday, this team has been kind of the Cowboys' boogeyman over the course of the last few years, definitely during the Mike McCarthy era. This is as much of a mental challenge as it is a physical challenge for this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those things when you feel like your roster's really, really good until you play these guys. And then you realize your roster might not be as good. And you're always trying to kind of get to that level. I think Will McClay and those guys here have done a good job of understanding how to win their own division, building a teams that can handle what you do with Philadelphia, the Giants, and the Commanders. The problem is, though, then you go and play some of these other teams. You now play Detroit. You now play San Francisco. It's a totally different beast. And the way that they attack you, the way they do it with formations, the way they do it with personnel, done a great job with just their roster when you feel like you match up well in certain areas, and there's others that you're completely undermanned at. So they're very, very difficult. Since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have come on board there, they've gotten so much better with their roster, but also the depth of their roster as well in order to combat you who, a lot of teams, a lot of personnel guys around the league. I know my gang of 7 always talk about the Cowboys roster. But man, it's a really difficult matchup when they go up against the 49ers because there's things that they can neutralize of yours, and then there's a couple of different areas that they're just better at than you.
I would say more physical, more in the physical part of things rather than mental, because I would imagine with the mental aspect, if anything, you're more pumped up, you're more mad, you're more eager to go out there and beat these guys and shut them up. And it hasn't been the case. You kind of just, it's kind of how the Cowboys look when they get to the playoffs. They just kind of, there's talent there, but for some reason, the level just drops off and it kind of disappears and it's not present. So I don't know what to tell you at this point, because going back to last year and the current state of the team of the Cowboys at the time that they faced the 49ers, I truly believed that that was going to be the time that they finally beat them, and it wasn't the case. And right now, the team, in my opinion, is way lower, the level that they're playing this year right now compared to what it was last year. So I don't know how you go into this game mentally and physically ready to compete against them again.
I want to go back, Bryan. You said something I thought was interesting about them building the team to play the NFC East. What are some of the things that you can see about this team and how maybe they're constructed to be able to win in the NFC East that may be glaring problems when you face teams like San Francisco, Detroit, other teams outside the division?
Yeah, there used to be a time where, with Philadelphia, and now it's not so much. Well, they're getting back to their ability to run the football. With Saquon Barkley, you were built to be able to put pressure on teams. You were built to, the Commanders. The Commanders are another team in the division that, to me, have gotten better just because of the quarterback. And then their skill guys. Their skill guys have always been good. They just never had a quarterback. And then the Eagles, on their hand, they've kind of always tried to build the running game and really haven't got it going other than the quarterback being the quarterback being a runner. Some of the backs, they've had some good backs, but they now have a back that can legitimately take a game over. So your team is built to get a lead, put pressure. You've always been able to kind of play Philadelphia well, get ahead of them, play with a lead. It's real hard this season for Dallas to play with a lead. And so that's where I felt like, though, in this division, when they do get a lead, then they could sick that pass rush on you. And that's where they've had success against the Giants, getting after Daniel Jones, getting after whoever's played quarterback with the Commanders. Right. And now it's a different story.
Yeah,
we'll see. And then also with Jalen Hurts, I think, if you talk about huge moves that were made, getting Saquon Barkley gave Philadelphia that power running game that they've been looking for that matches with their offensive line, and it's helped their quarterback. It's taken their quarterback out of harm's way of having to make plays. So, Dallas has yet to show that they could play with a team that has a power type of a running game. Now, Pittsburgh ran the ball with volume, but their line and their backs probably not, good enough. They just run it to try and help a young quarterback. Philadelphia, now the Commanders, they run it because they've got the ability to do it. With the personnel.
When they've played premier runners this year, it's not been good. I think that's kind of the point of that. And Saquon Barkley certainly showing this year that he is a premier runner. I guess if you believe in any way that the mental is a part of this, what do you think has to be the message from Mike McCarthy to his team this week to get them ready and prepared to go and play a San Francisco team that's had their number for the last few times?
Yeah, it's still 11 on 11. It's still, what they've been preparing for the whole season. I think last year you kind of saw the mental ramifications of this matchup really come to a forefront. And it kind of snowballed there in the second half, and that's why it ended up being what it was. I think if you play that game later in the season after the Cowboys had kind of figured out a lot of things, I'm not saying they would have won, but I don't think it would have been 42-10. It would have been a much more competitive contest. But I think looking at it this year in the 2024 vacuum, they are battling injuries. Cowboys are battling injuries. They have had some inconsistencies to start the season, so have the Cowboys. There's a lot of parallels between these two teams right now. It's not the daunting task that maybe it was in the last couple of years, but even if it was that daunting task, it's still 11 on 11. It's all about the preparation they put in during the week, which obviously has been under a microscope these last few days, and they'll see how they take it to Sunday in the Bay.
Yeah, what's really funny is when I really started to dive in, watching the tape and then looking at some of the metrics and things, you would not believe this, but Dallas and San Francisco are the two top teams in the league when it comes to tight window throws. You would think the 49ers, with all the motions and things that they have, but I think the Cowboys and the 49ers receivers are very similar in the way that they don't have game-breaking type speed. They have guys that are really good at, when the catches and stuff like that, some run after catch. But when it comes to, this is a team that usually will punish you with run after catch. They're only averaging 4.4 yards per, run after catch. And so, or yards after catch. And they usually lead the league in this. And this year they have it. They're near the bottom. And that's something that we're not accustomed to seeing from a San Francisco team. It's always been routes, run after catch, routes, run after catch. I haven't seen that this year when you watch their tape. And and they're not separating from people. And that's been a little bit of a problem for Brock Purdy. And we'll get into that. This guy, he will hold the football. The problem is, can your pass rush get home? on this guy when he holds the ball. Kansas City was able to do that to him, and that's
That
something.
defense might be one of the best defenses in the league.
and
though.
that's something that Dallas will have struggles with.
Well, for me, it's very hard to have this conversation and try to answer your question, Derek, because currently I see this team having so many, like the issues go far beyond the mental part of things. And it goes way further beyond on whoever the opponent is. Like this is like, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. The Cowboys have been struggling this season so far. It just makes it worse that you're about to face the 49ers that tend to, I'm trying to find the proper word, but beat you basically.
The proper word you can use on here.
Yes. There are just so many underlying issues that need to be fixed. And it's just, how do you do that in just a bye week? How do you turn things around? And I think that the Cowboys can potentially start turning things around at some point in the season because I do believe there is talent. The team has talent here, both on the offense and on defense. It just hasn't been working out. Maybe there is a point where McCarthy, now he took this time during the bye week to analyze the play calling and maybe change things up with the scheme and position their players in a better way and maybe potentially start running the ball some more. But there's just so many unknowns that it literally, to me, doesn't matter who we're facing this weekend.
But, you know, I will say this, and I think I'll use Mozzie as a good example, microcosm of what this team is. There have been moments this season when we said, oh, wow, Mozzie, that's really good play right there, right? And I think that's the same thing for this team, which says to me, they're capable.
Yes.
The question is, can they consistently put forth that same effort that we've seen them do in moments when they've looked good, moments when they've been able to stop the run, in moments when they've been able to run the ball, in moments when they've been able to make big plays. Like all these things we've seen them do in spurts this season. We haven't seen them consistently do it, really, even for an entire game. So that's where I say
that's why it's so frustrating.
Right, but that's also my point of that's where I look at this and I say this is in some respects a mental thing of challenging these players to say, can you put together a game of what you've done in spurts throughout this season?
Do you think the Dallas Cowboys' trouble in the red zone is mental or physical? Because that's where they're getting killed right now. That quarterback can't,
offensively, red zone?
Quarterback can't complete any passes in the red zone. They can't run the ball in the red zone. Mental or physical?
They don't have any red zone personnel. I mean, who on the roster do you feel like is like a comfortable red zone target?
I kind of felt like that maybe that Ferguson was a red zone target.
Yeah.
I felt like that CeeDee Lamb, when Cooks was healthy, I felt like that was a guy because I sat there and watched practice after practice and watched him run 2-point plays and create opportunities for him. I've seen Hunter Lipke with a red zone screen. You know, I've seen Rico Dowdle.
In the red zone?
Yeah. So I wonder, is this a mental or physical thing? Because this is right now, in my opinion, we could talk about run defense all you want. Their inability to score in the red zone consistently is killing them in these games. Yeah, and we all love Brandon Aubrey. You know, congratulations making field goals. Being up 3-0 and then down 7-3 and then down 14-6 and then down 21-9 and you know that's not getting it done. That's just not getting it done. Yeah. So to me, I'm trying to figure out: is it scheme? Is it personnel? Is it the offensive line? Is it the quarterback? Is it the receivers? You know, they have a disconnect problem now in the red zone.
Next to last in the NFL, 37.5% of the time they are scoring touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, and I want to say San Francisco is not much better than that. I think
27th.
They're not performing well in the red zone either. But to answer your question, Brian, it goes back to what I just said about the idea that we've seen them do it in spurts, and that's where I'm like, y'all got to figure this out to do it consistently. Because trust me, I sit next to this one in the press box a lot. And if you want to get her mad,
has a name.
No,
Amber.
Sorry, Amber. You want to get her upset? Run Aubrey out there when you're in the red zone for another field goal, and she's gonna be like, why can't they get in the end zone? Like I think it's a problem that we all see. It's very apparent.
Sure.
But I also think that there are, as you just said, there are players we've seen them be able to be productive in the red zone.
Right.
For some reason, they're not able to do it consistently, and that says to me either they're not having the right kinds of plays that fit what they're trying to do.
The general manager
or
owner came out and said that basically. I mean,
Right.
he hinted to it.
He said there are lots of problems, and that was part of it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and if you said where's the biggest, to me, moving the football, it's a struggle. But when they get inside the 20, it is like they have no idea of what their plan is to move the ball down there.
Agree. And
They
I
have no
think that-
execution of a plan. It's kind of it seems very grab baggy, and I know that's a terrible way to describe an offense. But there's teams that you see that have rhythm and understanding, and okay, once we get down there, how we're going to go into this mode. We're going to run it this way. We're going to throw it this way. We're going to create picks and opportunities and separation. It's like you hit that wall at the 20 just to be like me calling plays. Like there's no why. I mean, why'd you do that? So that to me is a huge problem.
All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back. We're going to dive into the San Francisco offense. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. It's our time now to jump in. Oh, this segment is brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, so Brian, let's talk about the San Francisco offense. I want to start with Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
There was an interesting thing that jumped out at me as I was looking at his stats. So far this season, he has 9 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
Last year, for reference, he had 31 touchdowns and 11 interceptions, a much lower clip when you think about percentages or ratios, touchdowns to interceptions. Why are there so many turnovers this year versus last year?
Well, if you watch the Kansas City game, he loves to throw the ball in intermediate routes, and the intermediate routes are like that 10 to 19 yard range. So they like to attack the middle of the field. and the way that Kansas City affected him, and this is Kansas City had a turnover. They get in a single high look, and what they're trying to do, Dallas has got to be, every team that plays, I should say, Dallas has to be ready this week, but every team that plays the 49ers has to be ready for the tight end delay and then run route. They kill you. They kill you with the, okay, we're going to block, we're going to block Kittle. He's a count, one count, two count. Now he takes off running in a route. What happens is that like teams like the Chiefs have kind of figured out, though, if you follow Kittle, if you play the middle, if you're a defense that plays well in the middle of the field. Cleveland did it last year. Jim Schwartz did it last year against him with the Cleveland Browns. We talked about Robert, play with the guy at 2-level safeties, play there in the middle, play one short, keep the crossing routes. What'll happen is that Purdy is so conditioned at throwing the ball in the middle of the field that sometimes he'll just throw it. And he'll think, oh, Kittle's there, Ayuk's there, Samuel's there. Somebody's always Jennings. Someone's always going to be in the middle of the field. So he will throw balls that he has no business. He's throwing to his spot. And last week, what Kansas City did to him is single high safety. When Kittle crossed, they drove the safety down and just were able to kind of disrupt the crossing routes, but also be able to pick balls off that way. Down in the red zone, he had a tip ball. Just, he gets pressure, he feels pressure. No quarterback, I said no quarterback. He is, when you look at him, and I was wondering this because you watch the tape, he holds the ball, he holds the ball, he holds the ball. Now, at times, he does a good job of holding the ball and making something happen and allowing things to open up and making the play. But a lot of his mistakes come from hold the ball, hold the ball, hold the ball, and now he's not on a base, he's not comfortable, and he throws the ball, he's off balance, there's not a lot on it. There's a tight window throw like we talked about earlier, and then the ball's picked off. But he's going to hold the ball. He's not interested in most quarterbacks, they talk about that 2.5. In his head, he's like 3, 3-1, 3. He's standing there and
he's averaging 3.2.
Yeah, he is waiting. But his numbers, a lot of quarterbacks, if their numbers, if they hold the ball a long time, it's usually going to be a throwaway or something bad. With him, it's not that way. But the majority of his interceptions have been with him holding the football and then teams finding ways to drive on those intermediate routes, which he has thrived on in his career.
A couple of points I have to back that up. I think Purdy's just trying to overcompensate for the lack of health in the skill group.
Yeah.
And when you look at what he's trying to do when he's pushing the ball further than 15 yards downfield, there's no rhythm, there's no timing because it's in the game against the Chiefs specifically, it's guys like Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall. I mean, these guys are really banged up in the receiving core. And then if Samuel and or Kittle cannot go on Sunday, then that's just going to add to it. I put that only Kittle should scare you more than 15 yards downfield. I think anybody else, the timing is not there. The rhythm is off with that offense. And you talked about that safety kind of creeping from the top. That's how it led to that Justin Reed interception early in the Kansas City game. Just a product of him being in the area and Purdy not anticipating him being there. But you also talk about him holding on to the ball quite a bit. When KC dialed up the pressure, Purdy was awful. And that's what they did. That's what they threw at them. That's what Spags threw at him early in the game. And I believe right before that final scoring drive in the first half, so it was about 3 minutes left in the first half, he was roughly about 2 for 8 for 30 yards and an interception. I mean, he was awful.
Real quick, when you said they threw pressure at him, was it a four-man pressure or were they blitzing him?
It was a little bit of both. It was just whenever the pressure was getting home necessarily. And when Purdy is pressured, he has a negative 17.5 EPA, expected points added, which basically just kind of adds to, it's a statistic towards offensive success. When he's not pressured, it's plus 43.7. That's a 60.2 EPA difference. Wow. And that is unreal. So, I mean, if you want to get to Purdy, or if you want to affect Purdy, get the pressure on him, which if you don't have a guy like Michael Parsons in this game, that's tough.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Do y'all feel like currently the teams, the Cowboys, going into this weekend, do they have enough to create those kinds of pressures?
No. The one guy that I think has the potential to get home. The one guy that I think has the potential to get home against this offensive line.
You think it's Henry?
I think it's Odigizua.
Oh yeah, because what's happened, Aaron Banks at guard is not very good,
and Jake Brindle as well.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are eyesores at center.
Yeah. See, the thing that I noticed with the left side of their offensive line, I felt like even with Trent Williams has given up some pressures. He's given up a couple of sacks.
That's interesting.
Yeah, Aaron Banks has struggled a little bit. You think it's McKivitz on the right side that would be the guy that you would attack. McKivitz is actually playing well. They've had a little bit of a situation with Dominic Pooney playing some guard. I don't know if he's going to start.
Really good. I'll say that.
Yeah, Pooney has looked good, and that Spencer Buford used to be the guy that played there. I think they're going to go with Pooney in this game, but the number 65 Banks is the one that struggled with pressure one-on-one. That to me, and if, like I say, Trent Williams, as great as Trent Williams has been, it looks like there's a little bit of some slippage in his play. But I would try and attack the left guard spot. But you mentioned that.
I mentioned Odigizua because of Brindell. There was multiple opportunities one-on-one. The center, Brindell, was getting pushed back into Purdy, and it was affecting that. Chris Jones had a hell of a game in that contest with Kansas City.
Chris Jones, you wish you had Chris Jones.
Yeah, no, I was going to say Chris Jones holds it from beast. But
is.
I will say this. I don't have much faith in the fact, or what I've seen so far, that a four-man pressure, that the Cowboys can get four-man pressure. I really think if they're going to get pressure on him consistently, they're going to have to bring it from a lot of different places. They're going to have to blitz some linebackers. They're going to have to blitz some safeties. They're going to have to blitz some cornerbacks. I think they're going to have to do other things in order to get them off, because I don't think there is or at least I'll put it like this, I have not seen anybody that currently is projected to play if Parsons doesn't, that would necessarily be able to have, that I have confidence in, that they can get pressure one-on-one, or even if they're facing a double team, obviously.
I will say the bright side of what the San Francisco offensive line, or at least what I've seen from them early on this season, is it's not a complex thing that they try to do. No. Whenever they're pulling guys, they do not have success pulling guys. And there was one play in the Kansas City game where they were trying to pull the left guard, you said Banks, and the tight end Eric Saubert, who was in this building for a little bit last year. They tried to pull them both to the right side to clip off Karlaftis, and Karlaftis just ran right around them, wasn't even touched, and got to Purdy. So, wow. There's multiple instances of them trying to pull guys and it just not working. So it's not like this depth unit for the Cowboys pass rush is going to see anything too complex. They just need to get home. I think there's going to be a lot of one-on-one opportunities, but you just have to see as time goes on.
Let's talk about Jordan Mason. He right now has 667 yards on the season, a 5.2 average per carry, 95 yards per game on the ground. Yeah. He is performing well for them in the absence of Christian McCaffrey. What does he do well, and what are the things that what can Dallas do to maybe slow him down?
Okay, San Francisco's running game is going to come from underneath center. Okay, and this will be the fourth team. You've played three other teams that play under center more. You've played the Lions, you've played the Ravens, and you've played the Lions. What's all the common thread there?
Saints.
Wait, Saints?
So, I'm sorry, Saints, not the Saints. Yeah, the Saints.
That laugh, Amber. That was a disrespectful laugh.
Yeah. The common thread was they got their butt
It's like,
that's what I'm saying.
This is whatever he's about to say and comes next ain't good. So.
See, that's the problem, because you're going to get them playing underneath center 76% of the time, and that means that's when Mason's going to get the ball. So San Francisco's running game is from underneath center. They do it with a lot of different. You mentioned about the movement and the pulling and stuff like that. They do it with Juszczyk. He's been on move by far more than any time in his career. You got to follow 44. You got to follow these tight ends. You got to follow Kittle. Those are guys that'll kind of tell you where it's going to be a lot of blocking back. It's going to be a lot of pulling. This back, though, I feel like he leads the league in broken tackles. I think he's got 51 of them, which leads the league. He's got 19 explosive runs of 10 yards or more.
He has a run of at least 20 yards in all but one game this season.
Yeah, just to give you an example, that guy at the Ravens has 17. So this is what you're dealing with right now, is with an explosive back. It's going to be from underneath center. It's going to be to the outside generally. They don't run the ball in the middle as much as they run it on the edge. Their running game is they try and get you to defend the whole field. They're going to play you sideline to sideline, but their running game is predominantly on the edges. So you got to be ready for that. They face a ton of loaded box. Dallas is fourth best in the league when it comes to loaded box. Loaded box, the extra defender, the eighth defender down in that loaded box. Dallas plays it a lot. They don't have success playing it. That's your issue right there. So you would say
that worries you if they have 8 guys down in the box
and they don't have
and they
success.
still can't stop the run.
Dallas is one of the worst tackling teams in the league. They're well over 16% missed tackles this year. Last year they were at 8%, which was tops in the league. Last year they were a much better tackling team than they are right now. But they are at about 17% missed tackles.
What would you attribute that to? Because there are a lot of guys on this team that are the same guys from last year, with the exception of a guy that you thought should have improved that in Eric Kendricks. What would you attribute that to?
You have an idea on this one?
Yeah, this is. I think health has definitely played a key. But I missed tackles is a tough one to pin.
Marquise Bell not playing, I think, really hurts you a little bit because he's a guy that's
a good tackler.
Yeah, he's a good tackler, and they haven't had that. You know, we've seen Hooker, we've seen Wilson, we've seen linebackers. You know, Kendricks is for the most part has done a pretty decent job, but he's had some misses. Overshown's had some misses.
Maris,
Diggs has had misses. Maris has had misses. They've had opportunity. The problem is they've missed tackles, and this a lot of teams running the football against them. You know, that's that physical aspect of you're dealing with backs. You're not dealing with receivers. You're dealing with, Alvin Kamara's and the guy at the Ravens, Henry, and you're dealing with that kind of a back. And it makes it tough on these defenders to have to make those tackles, they get in position and they don't finish like they absolutely should. But this will be a problem this week because to me, if I'm the 49ers, I'm not interested in throwing the football. Yeah. I'm going to see how committed you are to playing the run. And if you do play stacked box with the 8th defender down in there and you're not very good at it, you're not giving me any confidence you could stop me from running this football.
Yep. So if Debo, who was released from the hospital yesterday, so we don't know what his status is. Jennings,
I expect he'll
Jennings
play.
was out last week, so we don't know what his status is. Obviously, Ayuk is out.
Yeah.
Who are the offensive skill players outside of Mason and Kittle that when we come in on Monday, we may be talking about like this guy was their difference maker. This guy was the guy that we didn't talk about, but we think he can be.
I'll throw a name out there, Ricky Pearsall. I think Ricky, he's the young man that got shot in the chest and
crazy,
and now is back playing. And last week was his first game. I believe they drafted him to take Brandon Ayuk. They talked about trading Brandon Ayuk during the spring, and they couldn't really pull it off. I think they drafted Ricky Pearsall to be that guy. I could see Ricky Pearsall playing in the slot a lot more in this thing and making up for those Brandon Ayuk, the reps that he takes over there. But I have confidence that Jordan Lewis can take care of Ricky Pearsall. Mm-hmm. But if you want to mention a name, Jacob Cowing is a guy that, for some silly reason, they've tried to throw him the ball. He made a big play in the Kansas City game. It was 41-yard reception that he had down the right sideline.
Also their main returner.
Yeah, so he's kind of a quick, shifty kind of a player. They, like I say, they don't. I anticipate Deebo Samuel playing. I'm sorry, I just do. I think they're going to IV him up all week, and they're going to get him. He might not practice. But this is the problem you get into with Deebo Samuel. It's like they put him in the backfield and they actually hand him the ball. They haven't thrown him the ball as much as they have in the past. They usually, he's only had one target this season where they've thrown him the ball out of the backfield. Everything else has been a run. But I anticipate him playing in this football game. I just don't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about pneumonia, but I kind of feel like the fact that he got out of the hospital early enough that they might be able to get him well enough to play. That scares me a little bit.
The question for me on him, Debo, is are they able to give him a large dose of plays coming off pneumonia? Like, does he have the lung capacity to be able to because I think this is a game where if you look at it and look at the history of the 49ers, they'll have games like this where they have guys that are not in, that are compromised, and they're like, all right, this is going to be a Debo game. And they just load him up. Yeah. They throw it to him. They run him.
Jordan Mason
they do a ton.
Yeah,
but my question is, like, my thought would be, I don't know if they will be able to do that with him coming off pneumonia. Maybe he is capable of doing that, but I just wonder, like, coming out, if you had pneumonia bad enough where you had to be in the hospital, my guess is that your lungs aren't at full capacity to be able to maybe run a full.
I always expect the worst. When I'm playing somebody, and
because it tends to happen like that too. Yeah, everybody gets ready for the Cowboys. Right?
He's like, he's in the hospital on Sunday, and then the following Sunday he's 9 receptions for 127 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, Aaron Brown Player of the Week.
Yeah, they are compromised, and I think Nick's right about this offense though. it's going to come down to, can you stop Jordan Mason, and can you also handle George Kittle?
Yep.
And you also got to be ready for the Kyle Juszczyk wheel route up the sidelines, where all of a sudden he's blocking, and then he goes up the sidelines. And the Chiefs did a really good job. The one shot, I guarantee you, they're going to take a wheel route shot with Kyle Juszczyk playing fullback and sneak him through up the sidelines and see if they can hit him.
You just love fullbacks, don't you?
I do. And this is my favorite one. He had a season high in receptions last year with 4 against Dallas. He had the touchdown. But not only as a passing weapon, they get really creative with him and run block as well. They'll do some Lipke things with him where they'll line him up at tight end. They'll have him cross the formation.
Is that what we're calling it now?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
He's the originator. They'll have him crossing the formation, kind of pave some running lanes on the edges. I think if in this game, with Jordan Mason specifically, if you can contain the edge, if you can seal the edge and keep him between the tackles, I think you can find some success against this running game. It's going to get its production. It's going to happen. But I think if you can keep it between the tackles, I think you can manage what happens out of that.
All right, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, I'll have a couple questions for you guys specific to the Dallas defense. We'll do that when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. We're in the final segment of the break live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star.
We're learning nifty ways to get out of jury duty in the break.
We're not going to say that publicly because we all are great citizens.
We are.
We're doing our job.
Get out there and vote
I've
if you
already
can.
voted. I already voted. I'm already in. My ballot's in. Everybody should get out and get your vote in.
Get your vote in.
And if you get called for jury duties, go and see what happens.
And make up for us who are thinking about ways to get out.
And meanwhile, I'm thinking of ways to get in. I want to
be on a jury.
You want to
so
be on the
bad.
case. I kind of want to be on a case too, if to be 100% honest. But sometimes, like, if you get assigned to like a big case, you could be gone for 2 weeks.
That's my fear.
I've heard that.
That's my fear. That's my fear. Is I get into this case where I'm just there for weeks, and literally, like, I'm not at work. I'm not with my family. They sequester us. Like,
That's a nightmare.
Would you have liked to have been on the OJ trial?
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, Do I get a book deal out of it on the back end?
Oh, sure you do.
All right. Then,
You're a writer. Of course
it'll work out. You know what? Never mind. Yeah, it'll work out.
All right.
Deep Blue, Derek on Chewy.
Y'all don't want any part of that. All right, here we go. I got a couple questions for you guys about the Dallas defense. And I really want you to think about this question because I think there's one answer that's very apparent after the conversation we've had, but I really want you to think about it. What can this defense do more or better to have the greatest impact? The two options are tackle or discipline on their assignments.
Tackle. For me, it's tackle.
You didn't do what I asked you to do. I asked you to think about it.
Oh. Let me think about this. Tackle. I was like, what did I miss here? No, tackling. And discipline on assignments, definitely 100%. But, I mean, there was multiple occasions in these games that they've lost where they're just not getting guys down on first contact. I mean, you see how many yards after contact that they're giving up. Yeah. It's like, come on. I mean, the way that opposing offenses have been able to sustain drives have been a key contributor from missed tackles. They got to tackle better.
But give the listeners your theory on how you would play your edges this week.
Okay. Yeah, with the edges this week, I would want to, like I said before the break, if the edges can contain the running game and keep things between the tackles, I don't have a ton of trust in that interior for San Francisco to be able to sustain drives with the running game. So if they can keep Jordan Mason between the tackles, I'm completely okay with telling these defensive ends, hey, let's overcompensate for sealing the edge on the runs. Let the interior focus on generating pressure on Purdy. Let the linebacking core focus on situational blitzing on getting to Purdy. I want these edges focusing on the run game 100%. That would be my guess.
If you could give me a choice for this particular game, how to handle, and maybe San Francisco will be stubborn and continue to try and throw crossing routes after watching Detroit just dismantle you throwing crossing routes. Man, safety play has got to be better here too.
100%.
You know, I mean, if you tell me tackling, discipline, better safety play, I would give me the better safety play right now. You're getting killed in the middle of the field. Mm-hmm. You just are, and somehow, some way, you could be like a Kansas City, and I know that's a 2-time Super Bowl champion team. But, man, their safeties and the way they play, the way they drove on balls, the way the defensive line tipping balls. I mean, there were guys open, ball, tip. They had Ayuk had a drop. Dallas will never be as that lucky. I mean, Kansas City caught some luck in that game with some of the things that happened through the health of the 49ers. But they also caught breaks with tip balls on defense, and they caught breaks on guys dropping balls or not being in good position to catch a ball. Ricky Pearsall, inside route, and he's kind of getting mugged. And, Dallas never gets that kind of a break.
Between Wilson and Hooker, which of those two do you need more from?
In the passing game?
Hooker.
Hooker. In the passing game, Hooker.
By far. I mean, to me, I think, Wilson can lower the boom and create problems physically. But Hooker, he's just got to put himself in better position, read it quicker, drive on it. Man, I've seen him make plays like that. Like, read it the right way, drive. Kansas City did that. You talk about the interception. Here comes Kittle on the cross. They're not even thinking about Kittle. They're driving to a spot because they know that's where the ball's going to end up. And they get an interception off it. And you're like going, well, I wish Dallas's secondary or safeties would have that kind of awareness, that kind of vision, and then that kind of finish right there.
Well, between the two, tackling or discipline, I would agree with the tackling aspect of it. I think there's a whole sense, it's a whole different energy that comes when you tackle well and you set the tone. You're aggressive. You show that, hey, I'll make you rethink that next time, like on the next play, because you're about to get hit. And we've seen it, just like Nick mentioned, so many times that the yards that come after the
contact,
it's absurd. So I think that you have to start setting the tone that way and show that you are an aggressive team. And I think that right now this season, I mean, there's been moments like we've seen Overshown, moments that you're like, whoa, I love that guy. He's shown that. Maris, I think he has that aggressiveness in him as well. We've seen it with Kendricks too. And Jordan Lewis. Can everybody just play like Jordan Lewis right now this season? I mean, he has that fire and that aggressiveness in him that I think should be contagious. And everybody else, I think you bring that, and it just changes the dynamic overall, and better plays come from that.
To your point, Ambar, I mean, we talked about Mason and his ability to break tackles. I looked this up. He's had 465 yards after contact. You know, and I mentioned about 49ers run after catch or yards after catch. They're near the bottom. Don't let them all of a sudden figure that out against you.
Yeah.
Make tackles, get these guys down. If they catch the ball, get them down. If it's a 6-yard gain, it's a 6-yard gain. Don't let a 6-yard gain turn into an 18-yard gain. You know, find a way to get these guys on the ground. But, man, they're going to have their hands full with this runner for sure.
Both of these teams are at a fork in the road. A win for either of these teams could be a big confidence booster for the second middle part of the season.
No doubt. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to dive into the San Francisco defense, really good unit that the Cowboys will have to face, and the Cowboys offense and what things they may have to do in order to maybe get back on track and get a little more consistency in what they're doing, score in the red zone. We'll talk about all that tomorrow. Until then, for Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!